Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ruth Kim. Thank you so much for clicking, by the way, and thank you so much for coming back. If you are a returning subscriber, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And today guys, as you can see, I have my husband with me, and today he is going to be taking over the channel because he's going to share with you the steps to take while converting a foreign driving license into a German driving license. And this video is basically for non-EU members. So
hello guys, or hi guys, as I say. I'm Kelvin and I'm here to take you through the process which I did converting my Kenyan driving license into a German driving license, of which the first and the most important thing, you're supposed to have a valid driving license from your country of origin. And with that, you can drive for 6 months from your first day of entry into the country. And after 6 months, that's when now you're supposed to have a German driving license, of which, guys, the other one thing you did not know, German driving license is one of the strongest driving licenses. And because once you have it, you can use it globally. And you'll understand it better once I'm done with this video. So these are the steps I took from my first day of entry till to the point where I got my driving license. As I said before, valid driving license, which you can drive with here in Germany for up to 6 months. And after that, I went over the internet and checked on the requirements of the things I'm supposed to do. And the first step, you're supposed to have your driving license translated, of which I did my translation with ADAC, which costed me 50 euros. And the second step you're supposed to do is a first aid test, which is also inclusive of an eye test, which costs from 35 to 40 euros. This whole package, you're supposed to get a certificate for the first aid and the eye test. Once you get this certificate, that's where you go to the LBV LBV, that's basically a ministry department for transport.
State Office for Transport.
That's the thing, State Office for Transport. And once you go there, these are the following documents you're supposed to be having. You're supposed to be having your certificate, which you got once you did your first aid and the eye test. The other thing is you're supposed to be having a passport photo size picture, which basically they'll use it to attach it on your driving license once you qualify for the driving classes. Yeah, well, that's where I'm heading to right now. And after that, you're supposed to be having your original plus the translated driving license. You understand? You're supposed to be having a valid passport. And on top of that, you're supposed to be having yourself a residence permit. With the residence permit, basically, once you're here legally, you're supposed to be having it. And once you have all the documents ready, you go book an appointment with them, which you're supposed to do it online. Once you get an appointment with them, you go produce the documents to them. And through that process, it takes around 15 to 30 minutes, of which they go through your documents, they try and verify them, they certify them. And that's when they give you a paper to show that you are eligible to go enroll yourself in a German driving school, which with this paper they give you, they call it paragraph 31, that's paragraph 31. Once you have this document, that shows you're not like any other person who has never driven and is enrolling himself to a driving school. It shows that you're a person who knows how to drive, and the only thing you need to do, you need to show the examiner that you can drive, of which here, once you enroll yourself, you're supposed to pay it depends from driving school to driving school, basically from around 150 to 250 euros. That's one, basically I cannot say specifically it's this amount of money, but it varies from this amount to this money.
How much did you pay?
For me, I did it at 150, that inclusive of the registration fee. And that was also included learning materials, which was around 45 to 50 euros. That's what in total it was 150. And after that, once you get your learning materials, for me, basically, because I wasn't so good in Dutch, I prefer doing it in English, which is also an option for you guys. If maybe you cannot do it in German, you can also do it in English.
Or any other language.
Or any other language, depending from where you come from, depending from how you understand depending with which language you're most comfortable with, because it's about how you can be able to answer a question with the language you're comfortable with. So basically for me, I took it in English, and it was quite challenging, because once you know how to drive and you've been doing these things year after year, and here you are sitting again for an exam, it's a bit challenging, but you only have to put your mindset to it that this is the only thing you need to achieve at this point in time, and that's exactly what I did. And within a month, I booked my exam, and I did
ask
it.
you something?
Okay.
Did you have to go for the theory courses in driving school? Because as for us, people who didn't have like a foreign driving license, it's a mandatory, it's a must we attend the driving classes, the theory classes. But for you people who are just converting, it's optional.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's optional, because one thing, you know how to drive. They proved that. You are a driver. They proved that. So the only thing they want to do to you right now is to show you how to work with German traffic signs and road regulations, which are a bit more strange, so to say, or more complicated than the road traffic signs we're used to wherever we've been driving in our past years. Because as I may tell you something, once I was done with my theory, I passed my theoretical exams.
Can I ask you something also for the people who are watching? How was the theory for you, being a person who can drive, or being a person who has driven in Saudi Arabia and in Kenya? How was it for you?
Oh, I must say it was a bit challenging, because these are the things which you thought you knew, and once it's like an exam you did as a child, or an exam you did as a young person, and you put it into practice, and here you are again at an older age doing it again. It's a bit challenging, because actually I could not like comprehend, and the biggest challenge was like how they do it from a German language. They translate directly into English, because you opted to do it in English, because you cannot like, for my situation, I couldn't like 100% word per word understand the German language, so I preferred in English. So that was the biggest challenge, because you could find some words, they are quite direct from German, so you try like juggle it in your brain, like, okay, it's this what they're trying to imply, or this is what they're trying to imply. So I was caught there in between. But it's a big challenge knowing that you can drive, and you're here, you are doing the exam again. So it was a bit challenging. The only thing you're supposed to do is just try and understand the questions, and just try understand the answers if you're doing it in a foreign language. So
I have something else. How was it like for you? Because for me, the options, there are more than 3 correct answers. You know, back at home, it was either A, B, C, or D, the only right answer. But during the driving lessons, you're given like 5 answers, the ones that you're supposed to choose from, and maybe all of them are correct, or all of them are not right, or 3 of them are right. That was a challenge for us. How was it like for you?
Basically, one thing I came to realize here is like, with the driving exam here, is totally different from how I did in the Middle East and how I did it back in Kenya, because here you have multiple choices, a question with multiple answers, and these multiple answers, 3 are right and 1 is wrong, or you find like 2 are right and 2 are wrong. So that's the trick. They want to know whether, if it's not only about the answer, it's all about the options. What and what and what are you supposed to do, or what and what and what are you not supposed to do? So you have to choose from these answers exactly what you supposed. It's like, for me, the way I came to understand it was like how you're supposed to react in a certain situation. That's the only thing they want to like test you. Are you ready like to? Are you ready like to deal with the situation with an option, or you're just entitled to one option? That was my understanding. And so basically, once I was done with it, that's when I did I submitted my certificate to the driving school, and I was booked for my now practical classes. Here comes the biggest challenge. You're seated there, with your teacher on your side, and you know you can drive, and she knows you can drive, but she knows one thing with you is that the German traffic signs and traffic regulations, they are quite challenging, they are quite specific. That's one thing with German. The language is specific, the road signs are specific, everything is specific, and everybody is cautious. So here I am seated there, she's seated there, and we are starting to drive off. And according to my understanding, you're supposed to check on the road like some few minutes before or some few seconds before you get to the point of the road where you want to turn or anything of that sort. Now, so here you go, you turn, and you told you did not check because you're supposed to. There's something they call the shoulder blink. Like, it's a blink where you check from all perspectives. You check the rear view, you check the side mirror, and you do your shoulder turn. So basically, you're supposed to do that practically, not like in your mind like I did it. No, you're supposed to show the teacher or show the examiner you did that. So she told me that's the biggest challenge of the people here. You find somebody who knows how to drive and he says, I checked because you know how to drive, and the teacher knows you did it correct. And you know you did it correct, but you did not show you did it correct. So you failed it. So it was a bit challenging the first day, the second day, but the third day, that's when I realized I need to do it to prove to them that I can adjust and adapt to the system. So that was the biggest challenge, and I overcame it and came to the exam, and I passed, and I got my driving license. So
wait. Your teacher or your teacher told you something like which was interesting.
Here's another interesting thing which I was told by the teacher who was like taking me for the driving classes. Yeah, she told me like anybody who is in paragraph 31, paragraph 31, how they call it here, you tend to be a driver because you know you can drive. So you challenge everything with your experience. And that's quite hard, being told what to do and yet you know what you're supposed to do. You understand me, guys? It's like they tell you you're supposed to check. And you know, before I got to that point, I had already checked, I already calculated, because that's what a good responsive driver is supposed to do. Before you get to a certain point, you're supposed to be like calculating, like before I get there, how am I supposed to behave in case of a certain situation? But they don't want to know about that. They want you to show that you checked. Because the most important thing, a bicycle, you're supposed to calculate for it pretty much specifically. The distance is supposed to put between your car and the bicycle. The other thing, a pedestrian's crossing, you're supposed to calculate it. The other thing, once you're taking a turn, you have to check whether their bicycles driving through, or maybe there are pedestrians crossing through, or maybe there are children playing there. So that's one thing you're supposed to be specific with. And they want you to show exactly you check that. They want to see exactly you observing that. The other thing, the speed limit. They want to know whether you can stick or adhere to the speed limit given. Not so slow, not too fast. You're supposed to be just right there, the warm temperature. So it's a big challenge for me, basically because I know I can drive, I can calculate it, but they want me to show how am I doing it specifically and with gestures. Those people who have their homeland driving license, once they come here and they get this opportunity, they fail because of one thing. Paragraph 31 is basically complex because you know you can drive and you want to prove that you can drive. That's why people fail, because you believe so much that you know how to drive. You don't want to be taught on these different measures or these specific things in Germany driving system. So that's why most people fail. And another thing, once you're done with the driving class, you booked an exam, and this is where the exam comes in. You go with the profer, which is the examiner. We go with an examiner and your teacher. The examiner is seated at the back side, so she gives you the directions on how to go, where you want to turn, and so on, and so on. Once you're done with it, that's when they tell you congratulations, you've achieved, you've passed your driving license. And
If you fail,
they tell you you've not passed, and they tell you exactly what you did wrong, which is actually challenging, knowing that you can drive and you failed, and you've been driving maybe all those years, and maybe you've been so good you've never caused an accident, and here you are, you've been told that you cannot drive, so you wonder, where exactly did I go wrong? And once you pass, they give you a paper, of which from this paper you're supposed to take it to the LBFAO. Once you go there, don't forget to go with your old driving license, which is your homeland driving license, because they have to hold on to it, because whatever they give you is a German driving license, and you can use it in any part of the world. So they have to consificate your original driving license and give you a German driving license. So guys, that's it. I give it to you, and I wish you all the best. For those guys maybe intending to go through the same process, I wish you all the best. It's not quite challenging, but basically you have to compose yourself and humble yourself. So
how much did it roughly cost you?
Basically, okay, I forgot about that thing. So here it is.
The whole process.
The whole process from the translation costed me roughly 1,200.
And the exams and everything.
And that's inclusive. That's from point A up to point Z. The whole thing costed me 1,200 to be specific, and yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. Although I knew how to drive, yeah, that's a cost you have to forgo. And
which is almost 120,000 Kenyan shillings.
And that's exactly how expensive it is to have a German driving license.
Very expensive, guys.
Very expensive, and so
thank you so much, guys. It feels good to be a side dish for once. I've been talking and today I'm almost saying nothing. I have to ask some stupid questions to say something. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you want to see more of him, please let him know on the comment section below, because sometimes he feels like he's not wanted. That's why he don't show up. Thank you, guys.
She put those words in my mouth. So basically, here's the thing. Subscribe, how they say, subscribe to the YouTube channel, to this wonderfully beautiful lady. It's educative, it's entertaining, and it's everything, Moby. It's everything. So maybe you guys want to have fun, you guys want to get entertained, you guys want to get educated, you guys want to get informed. Subscribe to the channel. And
are you going to come back?
Yeah, I will. Sometimes later I'll be there. And I appreciate a lot, guys. So that's it for me. Peace out.
Bye-bye.